What is going on, guys? Today we're going to be talking about how to build yourself a budget dual battery setup. Alright, so you guys are probably thinking, well, what do I need first? Well, what you need first is you need to get yourself an AGM battery, okay? So there is other options out there like lithium, but look, to be honest, this is a budget setup, and we all know lithium batteries are extremely expensive. They are better, but they are extremely expensive. So go out, get yourself a good AGM battery. Now, I'm running a 98 amp hour AGM battery. So look, it depends on what sort of things you're going to be running. Now, all I run off mine is my fridge and just a few accessories like charging my phone, running some small LED lights around a campsite. But you really don't need too big of an AGM battery. So guys, once you've actually picked yourself up an AGM battery, now you need somewhere to actually put that AGM battery and a way to actually use that AGM battery. So I'm going to spin the camera now. I'm going to show you what I've picked up and what I've been using for this past year in 2019 and what I'll be using for probably most of 2020. So guys, mind the absolute mess in the back of this truck, but this is what I'm using to actually get the most out of my AGM battery and to be able to use accessories and run my fridge. Now, you're probably wondering, what is this big box of crap strapped in the back? Now, what this is it's actually a battery box. So the AGM battery that you've picked up will actually go inside of this, and that is how you run all your accessories. So as you can see here, it's got a Siggy socket plug there, so that is where I plug my fridge into. Obviously you can run absolutely anything that has that on there. So sometimes I plug my camp lights into that, your phones, tools, whatever has a Siggy socket, you can plug in there and run it, okay? Now, this one over here, it's got a 1 amp hour charging port for like your phones, whatnot, anything that's a USB, and then below it's also got a 2.1. So yeah, literally anything that has a USB, you can charge it out of this, okay? Now, up the top here, you've got 2 Anderson plugs. So that's for, basically you can charge or run anything off it that has an Anderson plug, or, you know, what I mainly use it for is running a solar panel charger directly to it to then charge your AGM battery that's inside of here, okay? So guys, now that you've actually got your AGM battery, you've got your battery box, you're out camping, you're running your accessories off it, but now you need a way to actually charge that AGM battery. Now, if you do a little bit of research, you can't actually let AGM batteries go lower than about 60%. If they get down to about 50%, they're starting to get into the grey area, and that's where they actually start to deteriorate and it can actually harm the battery, okay? So AGMs do need to stay above really 50% minimum. So you really want to keep these batteries topped up so that their lifespan is as long as possible. Right, so you're probably wondering, how am I charging my dual battery setup? So what I've actually picked up is another budget item. It's been working great. I've picked up a dual battery isolator from Super Cheap Auto. It's the Super Cheap Auto brand. I've had it for over a year now, and it's still working just as good as the day I got it. So I'll turn the camera around and I'll show you guys what that is and what it does. Alrighty, so that's it tucked away down in here. Now, what this little baby does, so what you do is you hook this one up to your main battery, which obviously your main battery is hooked up to your alternator, and you hook that up to your second battery, which for me is down in the back of the car, okay? So how this actually works is, once you start your car and the car actually turns on and it starts pumping charge into your main battery, once that main battery reaches full charge, it's going to start, it switches and it isolates the main battery to the second battery, and it's going to start sending charge from the alternator through there into your second battery and charging your second battery. Now, this is only going to work, this is this is only going to work when the car's on and obviously when you're driving. So if you're just crawling around, you know, idling first gear low, you're on a four-wheel drive track, look, it's still going to be charging the battery, but obviously that alternator isn't going to be spinning very fast, so it's not going to be putting in maximum charge. If you're on the highway, your alternator's absolutely flying, it's going to be charging your battery very, very well. Now, obviously, having a setup like this and not having any solar panels on the roof, you know, if you're at a campsite for 2 to 3 days, running that fridge, running your accessories, it's gonna run out of charge really quick. So you do need another alternative option to actually charge that AGM battery. So what I've picked up, another budget item, been running it for a year. Look, it is starting to deteriorate now, but you got to expect that with some items. I've picked up one of these. So it's it's a 120 watt solar panel. It's a fold out solar panel. Comes with a little solar controller. It's got a 5-meter lead, and it also comes with a 10-meter lead. So what you can do when you're at your campsite, even if you're parked in the shade, you can actually put that solar panel 15 meters away from your campsite out in the sun and get some charge into that AGM battery. So back to the dual battery isolator, guys. So I'll show you where I've actually run that wire. So obviously it's hooked up to the battery, which the battery is then hooked up to the alternator. But where I've run my cables, and obviously this is going to be very, very car dependent, but I've run it straight through here, come around into this front section of the car. Mind the mess again. It's running down, as you can see, there's that red wire. Just get it to focus. There's that red wire there, okay? So it's running straight underneath here, under all the floor panels, back through to the back seat. So we'll jump into the back seat. Down through here, under the carpet, there you go, you can see it just there. There it is, focus. And then I've run it all the way across the back and up into the battery. Now, obviously, I do need to tidy this up. I do need to tidy this up a bit. It's due for a bit of a tidy up. I have just changed where the battery location is. I will shorten those wires a bit, but for now, it's doing just fine. So I'll turn the camera around again. I'll show you from this side. So it comes up from that side, over across here, up. You've got your positive over here hooked up to the battery, just there. And then obviously you need an earth as well. So that's your earth there, and I've just hooked that straight in there, okay? So it's earthed in there. And like I said, while you're driving, that'll charge the battery perfectly fine. As long as the car's on, it'll be charging that battery. When you're at the campsite, whack your solar panel in and you're laughing. A lot of the time, if I'm just doing an overnighter stay, I'm not going to plug the solar panel in because I don't need to. The battery will be just fine for a night running the fridge. You don't need to put the solar panel in. It's only for extended stays that you'll want to grab yourself a solar panel to keep that AGM charged up. Pros and cons of this setup. So obviously a con, we'll start with the cons. A con of this setup is having that humongous battery box. It takes up so much room and it is extremely heavy. Now if I spin the camera around, you see, look how much space that takes up. It takes up so much space, and it's a very awkward item. It doesn't fit anywhere conveniently at all. Con number 2. Now this is going to be dependent on your battery box. Obviously, like I said, this is a very cheap battery box. It's $100, but I've only got, and it would be easy to fix as well. You can definitely put another couple of these on here, but this one only comes with one SIG socket, and obviously those 2 USB charging spots there. Now, for me, I would really like to have a couple more. It would be great, and I definitely could stick another one there, but you know, I know down the line I'm going to upgrade to a better system, but for now, this is doing awesome, so that's the way I'll be keeping it. Now, another con to this setup is that not everybody can run an isolator like I am. Now, the general rule is if you've got a car that's 2010, your car shouldn't have a smart alternator. Some do, but most of them don't. 2011 onwards, most cars have a smart alternator. Now, what that means is the smart alternator system allows the vehicle to control the output voltage from the alternator based on vehicle operating conditions to reduce electrical load and in turn mechanical load on the engine by the alternator. This renders it unsuccessful at charging a second battery system to an unstable level. Yeah, and yes, I was reading that off Google because that explains it way better than I could. But basically, yeah, not everyone can run this setup, and if you can, it's amazing. If not, you'll have to go and get yourself a DC to DC charger. Now, I'm not going to go into what that is in this video. It's definitely an awesome system. Anyone can run it. I'm probably going to upgrade to one of those in the future. So check it out. Pros of this setup. So some pros of this setup is that you can literally unplug that battery, unstrap it from the back once it's charged, and you can put that battery anywhere. I can put it in a tinny, throw my swag in the tinny, connect the fridge up, and I can take off to a spot that only a boat could go. So that's just an example. Or, you know, even if you're at your campsite and you want to bring the fridge out and put it next to you, sit there drinking all day by the lake, you can. Okay, so you can take that battery out and put it anywhere you want. Another pro to running this setup is that it's quite cheap. Okay, so the battery I'm running, the 98 amp hour AGM battery, was $239. All right, so yeah, look, it still is a little bit expensive, but it's definitely, in terms of budget, it is quite cheap. Okay, now I was actually mistaken before. The battery box that I am running is actually $70. So, you know, all up, guys, it's not that much for that setup. The other thing is you will need to get yourself an isolator or a DC to DC charger, and that's going to be a bit of coin. Okay, that's probably going to be the most expensive part, other than the battery. And you know, it really depends whether you can install these things yourself. I did get a bit of a hand from my friend Mitch, who's an electrician, so shout out to you, Mitch. But yeah, you may need to get this installed by someone as well, whether that be a professional or a mate. But yeah, if it's a professional, you know, they're obviously going to charge you a bit, so that also comes into play as well. So the Isolator, if you're wondering how much the Isolator was from Super Cheap Auto, it's $115. Okay, so like I said, pretty budget stuff. Alrighty, conclusion. Would I recommend this setup to other people? At the end of the day, I would. It's quite inexpensive in terms of dual battery setups. If you're looking at something, you know, a dual battery setup in the engine bay, that sort of thing, you really are looking at thousands and thousands of dollars, depending on what you go with, if you want a really, really good one, okay, using the best gear. Now, for someone who's just wanting to get out there, they're wanting to get into full driving, touring, whatever it is, first of all, you don't need all this stuff. You could just go away. I've been to the middle of literally nowhere with an esky using block ice. Okay, so first of all, you don't really need it, but you know, if you're going away as much as I am, it's a great thing to have. I really do enjoy having it, but yes, I would recommend it for someone. If you're on a budget and you're looking to get a dual battery setup, I would recommend it. Okay, alrighty guys, so to completely sum everything up, the final cost of this setup is $425. Okay, so it is a really good budget setup. As long as you don't have a smart alternator in your four-wheel drive, you can run this exact setup. Like I said, if you do have a smart alternator, you'll need to get a DC to DC charger, okay, and they are quite a little bit more expensive, but in the long run, they're probably worth it. Okay, how many times did I say and okay? Too many times in this video. But guys, if you did enjoy the video, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and make sure you subscribe, and thank you for watching.